It's been a while since I've sat down and filmed like a talking other than like a vlog, and I didn't really vlog for like at least since October, and this is my October/November wrap up. I said in September that I was worried that I was gonna have to start combining ones, and here we are. I don't know how many books I have, so there should be 13 books. I for sure have 10 of them. I'm missing 3. Okay, there's 1, but I know that I don't have 2. Oh, 3. Okay. Whew. There might be like a 14th one that I'll talk about. I just need to check with Goodreads as to when I read it. Apparently I'm less organized than I had hoped. I just kind of like grabbed my pile of books and was like, okay, let's do this. I have no idea what I'm doing. This one was read. When did I mark it as read? Okay, December. Okay, that's fine. So we will start with October, which I still have a color for, and I still have like my little count thing that I had done. I was still trying in October. Before I try to flip this stack, I'll take my little picture thing though. Also, hello blue hair, I did this last night. This is the first video I'm filming with blue hair, so you're welcome. This is a struggle. Oh my god. To get started with October, since this is like midway through December and I'm very behind. I actually read 3 books for December. I'm very proud of myself. But anyways, October I read 7 books. It was pretty good because I reread a lot of stuff. Without further ado, we're gonna get started with that. It started off a little bit rocky, I'm not gonna lie. I started with, oh my gosh, what's her name? Give me a second. I definitely am not prepared. I don't write down authors' names when I do it, so when I listen to something that I don't remember the author's name for on Audible, it's gone. I listened to Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power, and this was a thriller type one that I heard really good things about. Like, I believe Books and Lala really liked it, and I was like, oh, I need to get into thrillers, like maybe this is where I will start. And I explained it briefly to my friend and she was like, okay. And this is kind of the book where I was like, alright, I don't really like thrillers. I did give it 3 stars because like the reveal part was like, okay, I could get behind this like reveal thing. But it was weird. Yeah, I just don't like thrillers, so if you've seen that I've read a thriller and I've rated it really low, that's just like a personal thing. This was very weird. I like thinking back on it, I'm like, huh, I read that entire thing, like I actually finished it. Alright, it started off kind of normal, a little weird, but still kind of normal. Yep, super weird. Anyways, moving on. The next book I completed was A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and this was a reread. I read this one last year in like August, and I give it 4 stars again because I still thought it was wonderful. I've been wanting to reread it since I finished the series kind of thing, and I finally did, and it was awesome. Yep. I'm pretty sure I found like more things that I really liked in it, and was like really fun when I got to highlights that I had highlighted before saying I love these things, and amazing. If you haven't heard about this book, like, I don't know what else to tell you. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling inside the Beauty and the Beast retelling. But we'll talk about all the books because I read all of them within this little thing. So I read this one first. That one was great, obviously. And then the next book that I have on my list is one that I read for my critical reading and writing class, and it is Bartleby the Scrivener, and I gave this one 4 stars. I actually included this one because it's like a short story. It's like 20 pages. But typically I don't really like short stories. I mean, I don't like poems at all, and then short stories are like somewhere in between like a novel and a poem that I kind of like. It's a hit or miss, but I really liked this one. This one was fun. I ended up writing one of my essays on it. It was, wow, there's nobody you can trust in this story. Basically it's about Bartleby, but it's told from the point of his employer, this lawyer guy. The lawyer is super unreliable. Bartleby is super unreliable. Everybody in this whole entire story is just not great, and it made it really fun. He hires Bartleby, and then he can't get Bartleby to leave his office when he fires him, and it's like a whole thing. But it's just like 20 pages, so if you want like a fun quick read, This one is great. And then continuing on, I read A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Loved it. 10 out of 10. I gave it 5 stars. This is the best one. I always do the thing where it's like chapter 55, and I keep forgetting to check which chapter that is because, like, I ended up listening to the audiobook and I don't remember. But the one meme, Sarah J. Maas meme, chapter 55, I don't know, that's in here. Apparently it's spicy. It is a very spicy book. And then the next book that I also reread, I guess, was the next one, because you have to complete the entire thing, Court of Winks and Ruin, and I did read this one and Mist and Fury this year already, so this is like a reread in the same year already, which is wild. Who am I? But I've read like 129 books already this year, so I think I deserved it, you know? And I gave that one 5 stars as well, obviously. I'm just that person. The next 2 books are a little these are also rereads. In October I was like, oh my gosh, I need to reread everything because I don't feel like starting anything new, you know? And so I read Chosen by PC and Kristen Cast, and this is The House of Night. This is the, oh my gosh, 3rd book. This is my least favorite book in the entire series. I rated it 3 stars. I was like, what is going on? I mean, I rated the first 2 before this one 3 stars as well, but this one, a lot of stuff happens and a lot of important things also happen in here, but I just was not feeling it as much this time, I guess, around that I did last time, but also because I knew that after this book comes Untamed, which I also read in October, and I gave this one 4 stars, and this is when Stark shows up, and this is the entire reason I like rereading this series, is because in book 4 Stark shows up, and Stark, I love Stark. He's the only person in the entire series with some form of adult-ish common sense. Everybody else is a stupid idiot teenager from the early 2000s, and Stark is actually, he has brain. The rest of them don't have brains. Even Zoe. Zoe is like, Zoe's a dick. We'll just say that. But I read these 2 at the end of October, and I had a good time with this one, and I still have yet to pick up the next one after it. I love Stark so much. Like, everybody else could die, and I like honestly wouldn't care as long as Stark still is around. Now, moving on to November, because those were the 7 things that I read in October, which is not a bad thing. Like, I could have done it in its own little separate video if I talked slow enough, but since so much time has passed, I'm just gonna mix them together. And I read, in November, 6 books. Only one of them I think I have the audiobook for that I'm missing a physical copy, which is fine. The next one I gave 4 stars, and it's really no surprise, but this is the first time that I have read it, and it is, of course, Court of Frost and Starlight. This is the novella that happens between the 3rd book and the 4th book, which is still yet to come out, and a lot of people absolutely hated this thing. So I was like, oh my god, I hate novellas already. Like, what is gonna happen if I read this? And it honestly wasn't that bad. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I had read somebody's review and they were like, it's just Reese and Farah playing in the snow and it's useless, it has no information. There's a lot of information in here. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's kind of like an update. The only thing I really didn't like was the point of view change from person to person, like every couple of chapters. I understand that there was a reason for it, but I was like, I don't want to be in Cassian's head. I don't want to be in Nesta's head. Like, I don't want. I don't know why I was like, we're in somebody else's head. Which I'm pretty sure the 4th book is in Nesta's head anyway. So that was my only issue. Other than that, it was fine. There was information. I appreciated her making a friend in Valeris. That was great. Go Farah. Switching heads. This is where I draw the line. The next book that I read is like way off kilter. Like, we're in some other universe. I'm not reading fantasy. This was wild. Who am I? It's Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Like, who am I? I don't even know. There is a TV series and I did purchase it on iTunes so I could watch it because I had no idea what the fuck was going on in here. I was like, there's this dude Yossarian, he wants to stay in the hospital, he doesn't want to fly any more missions, the dude keeps increasing the missions. They start at like 25 missions and then you get to go home, but he increases it up to like 85 at some point, and they're like losing their minds. Basically is what's happening. And then I started watching the TV show and I was like, oh, makes sense, I get it. I ended up giving this one 3 stars just because I had no idea what was happening. It's more like a 3.5 to a 4 at this point since I started watching the TV show and I finally understand what's going on. You know, I was like, how am I going to explain this to people if I literally have no idea what I just read? But I get it. I totally get it. It was a weird novel and I get the humor now. So I mean, I figured it out in the end. The next book was really fun. It is Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood never ceases to amaze me. I've only read Handmaid's Tale of hers and then this one now. This one is like a beast kind of thing and like tiny printing. But this one is about this girl Grace who has been accused of murder when she was working in a house. She's kind of like a housemaid, I guess. I don't know what the term is, I can't remember. In like the 1800s in Canada. She used to live in Toronto and then she moved out to the countryside to work in this house because it was like really good pay, and she's like never lived on the countryside, so she was like, oh my gosh, yes. Her and this other dude get accused of murdering the whole entire household after she's worked there for like a couple months, and then so she ends up going to an insane asylum, and while she's kind of there, gets better, but she did this when she was like 16 is when she was accused, so they were like, let's just send her to an asylum instead of hanging her. And then she ends up meeting this doctor who's like interviewing her, going, what really happened, what was your life like? And he interviews her from start to end to see what happened, and then they end up finding out at the end what happened, what actually happened. But it's the whole story of her entire life and her telling this doctor like how she got to this house, what it was like when she was working there, and then the lead up to it. It was like amazing and beautiful and so good, and I gave it 4 stars. It's like a 4.5 stars. Honestly, it still might make its way onto like my favorites of the year, even though I gave it 4 stars. The next book that I read I have on Audible that I purchased, and it is Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. This one is by Rennie Edo-Lodge, I believe her name is. I believe she narrates her book too, which is really cool. I like to see that, and it was very informative. This one is about Great Britain's struggle with the racial barriers and stuff, and how dicks white people are basically, and why she doesn't want to talk about it anymore, but then she ended up making a career talking about it, and it's like, it's beautiful, and it was amazing to read and listen about how Great Britain has dealt with stuff over the years. Because I did Canada earlier this year, now I did the Great Britain one, so I'm like slowly making my way through those, and I think it's really cool. I never thought that I would get into like real life stories as much as I have, but I'm enjoying them. And the last 2 books that I read were buddy reads. So the first one I read was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a reread for me, but I read it not last year, I think it was last year in like January, so it's been almost 2 years since I read this book originally, and I still cried this time. I still found things to love. It was amazing, and I gave it 5 stars again because like, why not, you know? So like 10 out of 10, amazing. I loved rereading it. This is like a great breath of fresh air at the end of November, you know? And then the next book is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I've buddy read this with Andy and Dimitri, and we have a live show on my channel here if you want to go ahead and watch it. It's just over an hour long. We talk about this one and the next one in the series. So it was very fun. There were things in it that I was just like, wow, I can't believe I liked this when I was a kid, because I haven't read this since like 2009. Before City of Glass came out, so it was fun to get back into it. I ended up giving it 4 stars, which is I think what I had the original rating, but like I read that before Goodreads was a thing, before rating things was a thing, okay? Like, that was so long ago. Out of this whole entire stack, besides rereads, because if I say my favorite book that I reread this month was these months was probably this one, obviously, Court of Mist and Fury. But my favorite book out of all of them, honestly, either Alias Grace or Catch-22. Even though I didn't know what was going on after I started watching the TV show, Catch-22 honestly became very fun and I understood it better, but probably Alias Grace. So let me know what your favorite book was between October and November. I think I'm going to stick with this one. This was my favorite out of the two, or if you have one for each month, that would be great too. And I think that's all I have to say. Hopefully this will go up before the end of the year. That is my plan. I have one final left today, and then I'm done. But the final is until 3 p.m. and it's like 10:32. Oh my god, this is turning into a vlog update. But I'm gonna edit this as fast as I can, get it uploaded, and hopefully you guys will see it with my new blue hair, because this is like fun. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. Oh, also, just in case you guys wanted another little life update in this video, for funsies, I got glasses because I'm getting old. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave a comment of your favorite book that you read in October, November, if you can remember. Oh my gosh, that rhymes. And I hope you all have a great day. Goodbye!